Good morning. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
What's up, Carla? What is today? Thursday?
Today is Thursday. Yes.
Sweet.
Right. It's great to see you again for another episode of Cup of Joy.
Yeah.
I am super excited for today's guest, just because he's really cool. Brother, call him a brother in the work. But before we bring our guest, how's your week been? It's been busy for me, at least.
Yeah, it's been very busy because you and I are getting ready to travel together to
Yes.
South Florida. We're kind of keeping an announcement, like this, but why would we be going to South Florida unless we had something cooking up?
Something major. Who knows? So
Yeah.
stay tuned, folks.
Yep.
Something big is happening. Love that play on words. Yes, I'm excited for next week. A lot is cooking. Traveling has picked up for myself as well with a lot of our fellowships, mostly our fellowships. So that's really exciting. And then, of course, going on my I love February. Next week's my birthday and Valentine's Day. So really
Yeah.
cute. Oh, and we have a really cool Valentine's Day special for the Cup of Joy coming up. So y'all better stay tuned on Monday as well.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, so a lot of birthdays in February for
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Oh man, I hope I don't get this wrong. I know our guest recently had a birthday. I can't remember if it's like beginning of February, end of January.
No, I think it was beginning of February. Well, we're about to find out because
All right.
it's a happy belated birthday to
That's
our
right.
guest who we're bringing up,
Happy
Naseem.
birthday! Happy birthday, Nas!
What's up, family? I know the big picture learning family is tired of seeing my face, but I love y'all.
No. Wait, just to answer the question though, your birthday was like 2 days ago, yesterday, maybe?
Yeah. My birthday was February 2nd.
There
How
we
do you say
all right.
February
Oh
2nd?
wait, Groundhog Day.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. So
I
I'm
can't
sure no
believe
one
you
does
still
that
do that.
anymore.
So, welcome, Naseem.
thank you for having me.
I love having you. I love talking to you. But one of the reasons why we brought you on today, there's this fire, this energy happening around the SATs, and I know that you have your opinions. So do I. But can you tell us what kind of prompted you? You reached out and you're like, let's talk about this. And I love it when people are like, this is what I want to talk about. So what happened in the news that got you fired up?
Also, so the headline said the SAT will be fully virtual by 2024. And as soon as I saw that headline, I thought of my BPL fam and thought about Fannie Lou and thought about, project-based learning and the work that folks have been doing for years uh, to transition from away from testing. And I don't think that this is good enough, right? Changing this exam to a virtual format is not good enough. So yeah, I texted y'all and said the time is now. This is not good enough. Let's get rid of this exam as a whole. And if we're gonna start that conversation, we need to start it now when the change is already happening.
Mm-hmm. And then I think it's also shortened, right? From 3 hours to 2 hours, which
Yeah, some
this reminds me of when you sent so for background, Naseem sent this article, right? And I forget, it was during our rest and recovery week. And I think I was at the spa or something. And immediately I was like, oh, triggered, right? Triggered to this test. I hated it so much because I was a straight A student. I was valedictorian of my class. But this test made me feel so dumb in a way. Cause I was like, I think this was back when I was 2,400, the score. I don't know if I could break 1,800. Maybe when I added the best, but even then I was like, what does this mean? Is this a reflection of who I am? But then you get into like the intricacies of like, who benefits from this. Sorry, I'm like going down a rabbit hole for this, but I agree with you, Nasi.
nah, food. It's real. It's real.
Yes. But okay. So do you have any solutions to this? Like what do you recommend folks do? Where did your head start going when you read that?
So I think when I saw this headline, right, I just thought about so many other things that are being reformed and conversations that are happening. And I think when we talk about testing, right, specifically the SAT, this exam, I'm a firm believer that we're at the precipice of change, in changing in the direction and having conversations of reform, conversations that BPL has already been having, right? Our folks have been having these conversations. We're pushing project-based learning where we see, our young people as the whole package. We don't see them as a number. We don't see them as a statistic. We don't see them as a 4.0, right? When
Mhm.
when other folks do, right? And they're using this SAT as a determining factor to see how a young person is going to excel their first year of college, right?
Mhm.
And there's no correlation. I've been saying this since I was in high school, and it's just very frustrating that instead of saying, let's bring different educators, different students from all across the country and put them in a room and talk about how we can substitute this exam for another way of viewing students when they're applying to these universities and institutions,
Mhm.
right? How do we use a portfolio based model? I'm a firm believer that the portfolio based model is not used as a way for young people to get into college because it takes too much time.
Mhm.
And there's not enough people to listen to different interviews and listen to different presentations. But with in an ideal world, right? What if we had, similar to how we do it in big picture learning schools? What if instead of this exam, you had to submit a whole portfolio
Yeah.
and to the university of your choice, right? And some of these universities are going SAT optional, but what if you submit a portfolio or a video of a presentation talking about a topic that you're really passionate about, and that is the extra supplemental towards whether you get into that university or not? And
Yeah.
that's one of the solutions that I'm thinking about.
Just to build on that, because that just clicked. You know how, like, I mean, at our schools we do our exhibitions. And then just thinking about, I think at traditional schools, they have like senior not exhibitions, senior, what do they call them? Presentations, senior something, where they
Exhibition.
kind of showcase, right? Like they're learning. I love that idea, but for either recruiters or as your application to show a well-rounded picture of this is who I am, these are my interests. Because what can a test really determine? Um, Also, obviously, the obvious is it's a moneymaker. I don't know how many millions people or spend in test prep, but also the actual tests. I think I took the SAT 4 times, and the ACT twice. I didn't pay for it, but still, that's someone's money. But I love, love, love the idea of a portfolio. Um, yeah, Chris, is there anything you want to add, or build on, or ask? I know you mentioned.
Yeah, this is gonna feel weird, but I'm gonna be a little bit of devil's advocate here.
Ooh.
So listen, everyone, I've heard these talking points before. A portfolio would be better, but let's talk about the system, right? So if I'm a college admissions officer who has thousands of applications to look at every year, I don't have the time nor the resources to look at individual portfolios. That's just the way, that's the truth, right?
Mhm.
So my point is, if we're going to move to a portfolio system, there's got to be some sort of investment made in the college admissions office, which means increasing the size and the numbers of reviewers because there really is a tension point there. A reason, not the reason, Carly, you're right, there's money to be made in this, but a reason is that SAT, ACT scores are a proxy for the things that you might find in a portfolio. I say proxy because we also know that SAT and ACT is more a measure of your parents' wealth
Mhm.
than it is of your skills. This is like scientifically proven, right? It's been
Yeah.
controlled for, but just saying this is a bad test, we need to throw this out is not the solution. There's like pieces of the system that have to be overhauled. Um, End of devil's advocate because I have multiple points to be made on the other side as well.
Well, that actually kind of brings to when you just started saying that, Chris. I mean, why not then the application be similar to a job application or a resume, right? You can link your projects, you can link the work you've done. Here's this one PDF that I'm gonna, add that can be universal because once you get into privates, UC, CSUs, those systems all change. And then you have practice applying to to jobs because this is essentially a job that you're going to be paying for, basically. I don't know. Just another idea.
And I get Naz's thought on I want to go back to this digital point, right?
Yes.
Which is that the article is like, well, we live in a world where learners are digital natives, right? So let's change the test so that it looks more like the digital experience that youth actually live. However, I'm a little bit worried that it's going to perpetuate inequities because we know that there are communities in our country who don't have access to broadband, who don't have a computer at home. They're going to sit in front of a computer digital test and say, like, I don't even know how to operate this thing, right? Is this just going to further our inequities?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
And or have a quiet testing space
Yeah.
to take this test at home.
Right.
Because I did not have that.
And I heard a lot from young people that in the year of COVID, some of these universities are going SAT optional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience. Shout out to my university, GW, right? The university, my alma mater that I graduated from. They were SAT optional when I applied. I'm a firm believer that I might have not got in had I submitted my SAT scores. So they gave me that option. And once I figured out that my top university was SAT optional, I'm going to be real. I did not care about my score on the SAT. We were already doing advocacy. I hated exams. I was pushing and advocating to get rid of exams all across the board. So I did not care about the SAT once I heard GW, right? GW was doing SAT optional. My other top school was Syracuse. I didn't get in. I'm a firm believer that the reason I didn't get in was my SAT score.
Yeah.
So, that's just my experience. And I think if some of these universities are already going SAT optional, why can't this be an option across the board at every single university? And then what is being weighed more heavily, the resume, the GPA, the supplemental essays, the personal statement. Those are the things that I think really speak volumes on different students opposed to a number.
So I don't want to bore people by talking about white papers here, but there is a white paper that analyzes. So there's several test optional colleges that also ask students to voluntarily provide their SATs that were not included in the admissions criteria. And what the data shows is that when you have students of divergent SAT results at a test optional college, by the time they graduate, that effect, the effect of the SAT, is washed away. The SAT is not a predictor for how you're going to do in college. So I think you're absolutely right, Naseem. If we're going to say, like, you take a test and that's going to determine whether you get into this college or not, it's not a determinant of whether you succeed in that college. So it doesn't feel like the right metric to determine whether someone should come to Syracuse or GW or Harvard or Yale. So I have a lot of thoughts on this topic.
I can tell. But that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. I've never known that. We are coming up on time. Naseem, listen, let's figure out what we can do together, brainstorm this a little bit more, because I know that we definitely have a lot of energy to get stuff done. But we want to thank you for coming on Cup of Joy again. There's a lot of unsolved things, but we'll work through it.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I would say I encourage everyone across the network to have these conversations in your advisories, in your classrooms. It takes a village, right? We build. This is not a moment. This is a movement. So we need to push forward in getting rid of this exam. And the SAT's gonna come get me. I don't know, but yeah, let's keep pushing forward and really get rid of this exam as a determining factor of whether our young people are getting into these universities or not and getting an opportunity.
Yes. Thank you so much. What great final words. And with that, we're going to send you off to our green room. Thank you so much, Naseem. Oof, all right. How do we do
Carla,
that?
we have to be solutions oriented, right? So, like, you could say, like, here's the problem. So I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that our friends in Australia, Big Picture, have been working on, not just working on it, they worked on a credential called the International Big Picture Learning Credential that Australian colleges and universities are accepting in lieu of standardized tests for students. And Big Picture is looking for ways to implement that in the US. Also want to shout out the folks at the the Mastery Consortium here in the United States who are doing similar work. The Mastery Credential, probably getting the name wrong, but go to mastery.org to learn more about that. Plugs. Also loved, and Carly, you made this point. Like Nas was like, "Hey, I want to talk about this," and you were like, "Let's get you on the Cup of Joy." So if there are folks that are like, "I want to be on Cup of Joy and I want to talk about this," let us know.
This or like anything that pops up, right? Because this was sent out like 2 weeks ago, and we were like, "All right, let's make it happen." Yeah. So if anyone's interested, you have a topic, you want to come on up, hit us up, and we can make it happen. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. Wait, how does it go? Have a great day or not? Make it a great day or not. Whew. The choice is yours. Bye, everyone.